Hi, everyone. I'm Brianna Abrams. I'm a faculty member in the biology department. And one of the goals of my lab's research is to tease apart the specific mechanisms that link climate changes to ecological outcomes like species declines, and then apply this understanding to biodiversity conservation. For example, a lot of our fieldwork is focused on endangered African wild dogs to look at the intervening mechanisms underlying how climate influences reproductive success, interspecific interactions, and even human-wildlife conflicts. So, for example, we've shown that climate change has led to a large shift in the timing of breeding, which has led to reduced pup survival. And work by my postdoc Kazim Rafiq has shown that warming temperatures shift the activity patterns of multiple carnivore species, which leads to reduced temporal partitioning within the carnivore guild. We've also looked at how climate drivers influence the migration of blue whales, and we can use this information to predict the risk of ship strikes to whales along the US West Coast. Finally, in partnership with Boersma and the Center for Ecosystem Sentinels, work led by another postdoc in my group, TJ Clark-Wolf, has disentangled the effects of climate presses, which are long-term climate changes, from climate pulses, which are extreme events, on the population dynamics of Magellanic penguins. So I invite you to check out more of our research at my website and would love to connect across campus.
Hello, I'm Shui Chen, professor of atmosphere sciences. My research group study high-impact weather and climate extreme, like hurricanes and coastal flooding, and how they change in time, how they increase risk to society in a warming climate and rising seas. We collect data in field campaigns using aircraft and satellite. We also use computer model to improve prediction with increased lead time for better decision-making. Now we seek for collaborations across UW campus from engineers, social scientists, and others. We are looking forward to hear from you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Catherine Almeida, an assistant professor of landscape architecture, and my research broadly focuses on waste. Resource consumption and waste production are causing water, food, climate, and ecological crises. While there is a vast array of different types of waste, they are managed and treated similarly. How might waste become a source of renewal? Can waste be variably recovered to offer multiple environmental, economic, and social benefits and address injustices caused by its management? Different systems operate separately and linearly. Through my design research landscape life cycles, I apply materials life cycles lens to the inventory, analysis, and design of waste landscapes as integrative and holistic systems. This approach emphasizes waste relations, the human, more than human, and perceptual and spatial dimensions of waste. In the Duwamish Valley, I'm working with community groups and other researchers to both address contaminants in the Duwamish River or to explore opportunities for using other wastes as resources for creating a just circular community in South Park, Seattle. My work aspires to support communities to transform waste landscapes with waste materials to address social and environmental injustices. I hope to connect with other researchers across the University of Washington working in contaminated landscapes, circular economies, and waste reuse. Thank you.
My name is Nevis Dollhak. I study climate governance, the questions of who adopts climate change policies, when, what types, and what their impacts are. These questions are crucial because their answers impact how costs and benefits of climate action and inaction are divided across communities and countries. I study individuals, firms, communities, and governments. My recent projects examine support for wind and ocean energy in Washington state, electoral payoffs of the Green New Deal, whether the appeal of Pope Francis motivates individual climate action, countries' net zero emission targets, support for climate migrants in Bangladesh, Japan, and Switzerland, and just transition in coal communities in South Africa. Climate governance is polycentric and complex. Without understanding who wins and who loses from specific climate initiatives, climate progress will continue to be slow.
Hi, I'm Tim Essington. I'm a professor and the director of the School of Aquatic and Fishery Sciences, and I'm really excited to talk about a summary of all of the great work done in our school to address the consequences of climate change on natural systems and the benefits that humans get from them. Two things really stand out to me when I look across our program. The first is the breadth. Our school's faculty and students approach climate science impacts at the scale of genes, all the way to organisms and ecosystems. It includes innovative approaches to reconstruct the past, such as using museum specimens in a similar way that other fields might use, say, an ice core. And finally, it includes groundbreaking discoveries on what we do to manage and conserve and protect biodiversity in a world where there's climate change. The second main thing I really wanted to draw attention to is here we draw no distinction between basic science, applied science, or problem-focused research. Here, science is science, and we recognize that important discoveries come from everywhere. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jason Houghton. I'm a research scientist at Friday Harbor Labs, and I study this sea star, which is endangered in our region, the sunflower star. And today I'm going to talk about raising this sunflower star under a range of different temperatures and seeing how well they perform. So at the embryo stage, they're often quite high, about 4 to 5 degrees above their environmental temperature. This is good news for the future robustness of the species in climate change. At this key larval settlement stage, where they settle down to the seafloor, the optimum drops at 14 degrees, which is about their environmental temperature in the summertime. So sunflower stars are generally robust throughout most of ontogeny to high temperature exposures up to 5 degrees Celsius above peak summertime conditions. But as they approach settlement, they become more temperature sensitive. So one lesson is it's important to investigate these issues across ontogeny, not just looking at one stage. And furthermore, the good news, I think, is that if any stage in ontogeny is robust to warmer temperatures, then maybe these are evolvable organisms, and hence they have the potential of coping with future climate change. And maybe that's something to discuss. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maureen Kennedy. I'm coming to you from the Tacoma campus in the School of Interdisciplinary Arts and Sciences and the Division of Sciences and Mathematics. Some of my research around climate change revolves around climate change and wildfire. One of the things that we do is I work with folks at UC Santa Barbara to use this bidirectional coupled model of ecohydrology, vegetation and fuels, and wildfire to help us better understand climate change effects on wildfire under both short timescales, such as their effects on fire weather, and longer timescales that integrate climate change's effects on vegetation, productivity, mortality, and fuels. Some of the connections I have currently on campus is I collaborate a good amount with the School of Environmental and Forest Sciences in Seattle, Brian Harvey's labs, the Precision Forestry Cooperative, and I also work with the U.S. Forest Service, who has a close relationship with UW Seattle, particularly Morris Johnson there. I'd love to work more closely with the Climate Impacts Group and the Department of Natural Resources to expand use of that modeling system to Washington forests. Thanks.
I'm Dominic Muran, lead researcher at the Neo-Badger Academy, a design research group exploring how production of designed objects can reinforce the relationship between humans and the ecologies they inhabit. Our group is driven by a non-traditional threefold aesthetic. First, we make beautiful objects. Beautiful forms and pleasant interactions with our tools help us better embody our tool-using humanity. Second, though, we make objects with a beautiful life. How is it made? How is it used? How does it end? Every moment in the arc of an object's life deserves intention. Last, and perhaps most challenging, we design objects whose making increases the beauty of the ecosystems that they are built within. We are making prototypes which demonstrate this ethos. We are publishing and exhibiting those demonstrations where possible. We are planting gardens with collaborators around Seattle. And we are learning to grow, ferment, culture, breed, forage, and harvest from the various plant, animal, and fungi characters who will help us along this path. We're open to any collaborations across the university that would help to further these goals. Thanks, y'all.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Stearns, Associate Teaching Professor at the Foster School of Business. What I do is teach framework and foundation courses in sustainability through my own original case writing and by incorporating sustainability into all case analysis. I use a systems approach, understanding the 1.5 degree mandate for climate. We need the systems approach in the business school, especially because our students are not scientists and it gives them a way to frame data. We have to move beyond profit goals to ask key questions and get our students to think about things like not just pricing, but CO2 impact of transporting Fiji and not just how to price it. I'd like to work on case writing with others from the law school, marine and environmental studies, and those working in just transition. We send our students to very cool consortium around the country, as well as encouraging national, international case competitions. Because the Earth is a system and business is a vital part of that solution. Case writing matters. Thank you.
I bet you already know that plants care about the climate that they experience. But did you know that climate also cares about plants? I'm Abigail Swan, an associate professor in the Department of Atmospheric Sciences and the Department of Biology, and I lead the Ecoclimate Lab. In the Ecoclimate Lab, we study how plants and climate interact with one another. We use mathematical models and observations to ask questions like, how and why will planting forests alter climate? How does the response of plants to future climate alter droughts? And what should crops of the future look like for resilient food production? I'd like to connect with people interested in the fundamental role that biology and biological uncertainty plays in the climate we experience over land, as well as those interested in creative new ways to inform agricultural crop breeding based on our knowledge of plant-climate interactions.
I am Usha Varanasi, an affiliate faculty in the College of the Environment. My work is focused on the premise that nature is an integral part of us and must be accorded the same care and respect as human life. The 2020 UN report states the current pandemic has demonstrated that environmental health and human health are intricately connected. However, against the backdrop of climate change and losses in iconic forests, the prevalent attitude towards nature, green and blue spaces, is to take it for granted. The question is whether focused and enduring exposure to nature can change this attitude of benign neglect. My goal is to start a small project to study the responses of students as they walk through or use the green spaces, gardens and greenhouses in an urban campus. I believe that just starting a dialogue on this may raise critical awareness and empathy of young people who are the future stewards of this planet Earth.